we all doing? Good? Hanging in there. All right. So I'm really passionate about these two ideas, design and education. My background's in architecture. I was an architecture student, but for the past 2 years, I've been a graduate student, as Ben said, at a school of education. And I'm fascinated by the intersection of these ideas. And I've been driven by this question: why aren't educators and designers working together all the time? Because whenever they do, great things seem to happen. There's a great positive energy that we're feeling in the room today when these two ideas meet. So I've come to understand these ideas not so much as ideas, but spheres. We have a design sphere and an education sphere. In each sphere, we have people designing for education. But we have very little opportunities for both spheres to design together for education. And while our theme today is redesigning education, I think one of the biggest problems is how can we get people from both of these spheres together in the same room all the time? Because whenever that occurs, we get this word. We get innovation. We get better. Our education system seems to get better. It doesn't just change, it gets better. So today, I really wanted to share some stories from each of these spaces, from a design space, from the design sphere, and from the education sphere. But I really also wanted to focus on what happens when these spheres come together, particularly at universities and on college campuses. So when I graduated, I obviously thought architecture was design. That was my design. That's what I thought design was. Moreover, I thought I wanted to do school design. I wanted to design schools. That's what I thought. That was my impact for the world. And I quickly realized after graduating that, whoa, there's a lot more to design. There's a lot more areas of design. And more than that, there's a lot of people who use this word design to design for education. I want to share a few of those with you. This is a chair from a product design company, Steelcase. And it uses a human-centered design process that's been talked about tonight to really reimagine how students move in a classroom, taking the idea of a chair, putting wheels on it, you can throw a backpack under it, and reimagining mobility in the classroom, because mobility is important to learning. This has been talked a lot about, but designers reimagining how we deliver education, not just to provide access, but how can we design online technologies to meet the needs of learners. I also met a lot of people after I graduated who were saying that design is a form of curriculum. This project here has been referenced tonight. It's founded by Emily Peloton. It's called Studio H in nearby Bertie County. And people are saying, like Emily, that design is education, that when students design of all levels, K through 12, this is K through 12, but also in higher ed, they learn better. They transform their experiences in the classroom, and also they transform their experiences outside the classroom. And what's been a big theme of tonight is when students design, they transform the communities that they live in. So after I heard all these ideas, I was psyched. I was ready to go out and, but I did something weird. I thought, well, these are great ideas. What's going on in our education world? Why aren't people in education doing these? Are they? So I had this big question. I made an unusual choice. I said, I'm going to go to an education school. And not many people were making that choice. You would hop in a design sphere and you could design for education in the design sphere, but I was driven what's going on in our schools of education particularly. And when I got there, I realized something very quickly. We speak very different languages. In design, yeah, we look around the room, we have post-its, we have drawings, we talk, we express ourselves very differently. In education, first thing I see is a regression analysis, a policy memo, and here's a research brief. This is education. I'm like, whoa. And it's, but what I realized also very quickly, there's something very beautiful about those tools of education, because education is so complex. And what I also realized is all the same conversations that are happening in the design sphere are happening in the education sphere. So the logical thing is, why aren't they happening together? So I was driven, well, are they happening together? Where are educators and designers meeting? And particularly, where are they meeting at universities and colleges? So I was, this past summer, I was lucky enough to go to Melbourne, Australia, and work with a research team at the University of Melbourne. And Australia just had something called the Building Education Revolution, which was a $16 billion federal policy to, in essence, put a new building in every middle school. But that was it. What started as an economic policy became something very different. And it became something very different because of this research team at the University of Melbourne. People like Ben Cleveland, Ken Fisher, Claire Newton. The names are very important because these are people I worked with, and they really changed my life. But they were saying, what's this intersection of education and architecture? How can we design learning spaces that are different and better than anything we've thought about before? And how can we use this federal policy, this building education revolution, to transform the way we learn in our classrooms and outside our classrooms? And they were asking questions like this. They were saying things like this. We are currently preparing students for jobs that don't yet exist, using technologies that haven't yet been invented, in order to solve problems we don't even know our problems yet. And they were inspired by ideas like this. This is a portable school. In Amsterdam, it literally lifts off the ground, and the idea is it goes to a place, you get economic development around a school, and then it leaves. And then the city or the school, the environment grows, and it just keeps going. And they were asking questions like this research team in Melbourne. How about portable classrooms that look good enough to be at the front of a school? Right, and it really resonates, right? It's like, that's it. Why aren't we doing that? And, they were looking at portable classrooms often thought of as temporary, always become permanent. And this is not just in Australia, it's a global phenomenon. And what I saw is that a university's research, at a university, they use design competitions, design challenges. They use their own research to bring educators, designers, and architects all together at the university. And what happened was it transformed a country. It helped transform a country. And I wanted to show a few results from their design competition. This is something called the Cool School. And man, I would have loved to go on this. I didn't even know what it is, but let's go to that when I'm younger. I mean, it's but this is actually from a student. It's interesting. I'll return to that. But totally reimagining what portable classrooms, what schools really look like. This was another entry that resonated with me and quite a bit across Australia. This was by an architecture firm called Architectus, and they designed an iPad app, and they said, we're going to go even further. We're going to have our students and teachers design their own spaces. And similar to the fantastic design firm that Christian's from, Canon Design, and all his fantastic work, they designed an app where students could configure their own learning spaces and design how you could actually configure these learning spaces for better learning. So I came out of that and I was floored. I saw an entire country come together at a university. I'm like, yes, that's it. And there was a big question of where are the students? There was no students there, and they would acknowledge that. Melbourne acknowledged that. Australia would acknowledge that, and it's something that it really resonates. Where are the students in these conversations? And I came back really driven by that idea. Well, how can we? What if students are the vehicle for education and design at our universities to bridge these ideas of education and design? I heard about this, Design for America. It's got a great ring to it. It's got something. I was the only one who thought it had a great ring to it. I met a few friends, Haley Nesmith, Guy Hobsonbot, two really great friends. And we were like, yeah, design from DFA. Sounds really cool. And then it hit you, what the heck is DFA? What is it? And we looked deeper into it, and then we started meeting some of the students that were involved in this, and we learned what this thing called Design for America was about. And I wanted to talk a little bit about it because I think it's a pretty incredible movement. Design for America, DFA, was founded at Northwestern University in 2009 by a group of students who said they wanted to put their education into action. And the beautiful part about it is they were met by faculty, an engineering school, and an engineering dean, and a full university that said, we want to do something about that. And so many professors, a few big ones, are Professors Liz Gerber, Jeannie Olson, head of operations, Sammy Narenberg, said, let's do something about this. And in essence, they formed a student-run studio at their school. And the studio used design to create local and social impact on their college campus and in their surrounding community. And they use this design process, right? And it's been talked about tonight. It will be talked about later. Is anyone can do it. So what happened was lots of students started joining this studio from all sorts of disciplines, from all backgrounds across the university. And you had this beautiful mix of students from all over coming together to bring real change. And it didn't just stay at Northwestern. It's now gone to 14 other universities, including ours. So we founded our studio at Vanderbilt, and this is half of our studio here. We just founded it last year. And what's really neat is this word design seems to bring people together. And at Vanderbilt, it's been fascinating to see how students can bridge faculty from different domains. They can bridge research from different domains. And it's almost a form of knowledge creation when you start doing it. And it's really important to remember in these conversations about redesigning education, what role can the student play? So I wanted to close out on the point, this idea of innovation or change. Because one thing that I worry about a lot, and when you go back between the design space and the education space, when you hear the word redesigning education, this idea of change, it's always there. We're changing. And I think a really important thing to bridge these spaces, because I think bridging the spaces is important, is to reframe this idea of change to innovation. Because change isn't necessarily good. It can be bad. And just simply reframing the idea of redesigning education, bringing design into education as an innovation, can do a lot to make people in education listen to you. Listen to students, listen to faculty, listen to designers who have a lot of passion for this word design. I thought I'd close out by introducing a really huge mentor of mine. This is Professor Dave Owens, and I don't know if you can see him. Another friend is Guy Kopsenbot. He actually did these design drawings here. This is a screenshot from a massive open online learning course, and I'm a TA for right now, called Leading Strategic Innovation in Organizations. And I bring it up for a lot of reasons, but one of the biggest ones is that there's 50,000 students enrolled in this course, and the course requires you to design. It doesn't require you to submit tests or anything like that. It says, go design something in your world. And it's fascinating. I'm sitting on these online forums, and it's, as I mentioned to a few others, it's mayhem in these online forums, and it's mayhem. And but yeah, you have, at the same time, you have people from all over the world, India, China, Afghanistan, everywhere, coming together. And they're not just coming together to learn, they're coming together to design. And it's really been resonating. It's 2 weeks into the course, and why are people still in this course? Or except that we actually have about 20,000 of the 50,000 still enrolled, so that's higher than most of the rates of these courses. And I find it really fascinating. Not only are these people joining the course to learn, they're joining the course to design. So I wanted to close by just leaving this idea that, leaving you all with this idea that education is better with design, but also design is better with education. And I think there's a lot of potential in realizing that. Thanks so much.